ज्यादातर लड़कियां क्यों आती हैं यहाँ पे?
ये एक हवा है, जब ये चलती है ना, और जो आदमी डर जाता है इससे, उसको तुरंत ये पकड़ लेती है। ज़्यादातर लड़कियों में डरने की प्रथा शुरू से चली आ रही है, क्योंकि उनके अंदर डर होता है, और जिसके पास डर नहीं है वो ठीक।
I am a god.
In Hindi horror film history, women are often pushed into the limelight, whether be it a supernatural entity to fear, like in Ek Thi Dayan, Stree or Pari, or be it a helpless victim of an evil spirit like in the 1920 franchisee or Haunted 3D, where the woman cannot find release from her tormentor even after death. Although the narrative is shifting to produce more stories that deliver a social message wrapped in horror, like Kali Kui or Lappa Chappi, which try to portray strong women fighting to gain back control from the all-dominating societal narrative, the major chunk of movies in the horror genre end up about being women losing control of their body and actions because of external entities. A little disclaimer, I will only be talking about cases of possession of body, so movies like Pari, Stree and Ek Thi Dayan would not come under this umbrella. Maybe I will do a separate video for such scenarios. Neither will I be talking about movies where it is the male that gets possessed, like Lakshmi or 1920 London. Exorcism is the religious or spiritual practice of evicting demons, jinns, or other spiritual entities from a person or an area that is believed to be possessed. In Hinduism, the Atharvaved is said to contain the secrets related to exorcism. Also, it is believed that praying to Lord Hanuman gives the best result. Islamic exorcisms might consist of reciting verses from the Quran. The drinking or sprinkling of holy water may also take place along with applying clean non-alcohol based perfumes called ittar. In Catholic practice, the person performing the exorcism, known as an exorcist, is an ordained priest. The exorcist recites prayers according to the rubrics of the rite and may make use of religious materials such as icons, sacramentals and relics. There are several other methods to perform exorcism according to one's faith. Although this might sound like a thing of the past, several shrines in India still practice exorcism. It is widely believed that anyone can be possessed by an evil entity. It is often concluded that the weak and the vulnerable, aka the children and the women of society, are most at risk. In 2015, ABC News did a piece on a temple in Madhya Pradesh where thousands of women are brought in by their families to find release from the evil spirit. These women are shouted at, their hair pulled, and even beaten, mostly by the male gurus and their male disciples. Looking at several videos claiming to be real-life exorcisms, it is evident that it is not just women who are a victim of this outdated and unscientific belief. There are men too in these places chained and handcuffed with claims to be made well in a month or so. But the census does not disagree. Women who are vocal enough or try to shout their opinions after years of oppression are often termed as isko mata aati hai, meaning a spirit has entered her. And this very trend is well observed in our horror film industry. The template for the horror genre starting from 1990s, which I could trace back to Ram Gopal Verma's horror films like Raat or Bhoot, is simple. The woman starts exhibiting unusual behavior which is often overlooked by the people in her life and is only allowed concern after a huge tragedy, which is usually death. After this, someone special is contacted to free her from the spirit, and in all this, her partner somehow ends up being the most crucial character to free her. Recently, with more female creators working in horror and the industry as well as the audience maturing the content, we can expect to get more stories that cite from this template, like Bulbul, Ruhi or Durgamati. These are, however, a handful of examples. And for Ruhi or Durgamati, one doesn't justify its ending and the other doesn't clarify the action of the spirits of the possessed narrative. Even in the introduction of the character, the women of the 1920 franchise are very clearly defined related to their male partners. Ruhi, even though the titular character, is literally kidnapped and driven around as per the whim of the male characters. These women are quite literally written as a hollow shell with little to no substance supporting their characters, making them the perfect body to be possessed. While in most of such stories, after the possession, the narrative is driven on the rescuing of these innocent souls, little attention is paid to the state of the women tormented. Meanwhile, in movies like Bulbul, the story explores the lives of these women and justifies their state of possession much more clearly. In 1920, Bhoot from 2003, Raat and Ragini MMS2, The women are possessed because they happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. These stories are triggered after moving to a new location where even though a group of people are available to choose from, these women start experiencing unnatural events quite immediately and are possessed by the second half of the film. In 1920 Returns and Bhoot from 2020, the female victims contain a link to the male ghost's death. However, in Bulbul, the possession is seen to be empowering the titular character. Rather than using her as a means to exact revenge, Bulbul is chosen for the trauma she had to endure, and possession ends up being the act that saves her life and in fact makes her strong enough to protect the women around her. There are reasons to justify the possession, however twisted they may be, not just random acts of evil towards women. Most of the events for the ghost character are triggered by a violent act that leads to their death. In cases where the ghost is male, his death is caused directly or indirectly by a woman, which is then the motivation of his revenge. In the case of a female ghost, her death is a consequence of violence imposed on her often by male characters. Her motivations are just the same. In Bhoot from 2003 and Ragini MMS2, the story is about women who have been wronged. Where one is hell-bent on taking revenge on the ones who wronged her, the other is interested in destroying everything around her using her sexuality. In most stories in general where it is a male ghost possessing a woman, it is quite clear to destroy the woman herself or someone close to her. Irrespective of the gender, the violence continues after death, and in all this, it is the possessed woman who ends up with her will destroyed and body and soul scarred for life, while the man who saves her life just has his love reinstated permanently in the narration. She is expected to be indebted, and the man is expected to walk through fire to save her, irrespective of their relationship status or their feelings for each other. But it is also a scary concept that the man is just automatically sorted into one of the two categories, the savior or the tormentor. Although in recent years, even the ghosts have been getting more dimensions in their character build-up. For Ruhi, the spirit only seems interested in getting married, and even though in the end the two women end up merging into a single powerful entity, one can only wonder if the tale was just an outcome of a narrow vision for a woman who only wants marriage in the end, rather than empowering a woman among her dominating male peers. Similarly, in Bulbul, the ghost motivations are not revenge but simply an act of empowering a woman who had only suffered and faced oppression at the hands of the evil men. What's interesting is that so few women explored this topic. Now that can be explained by the lack of female creators, but even in my previous video where I explored adultery, the ratio was not that off. Also, a lot of the stories by male creators end up being stories of male saviors rescuing the weak women to be turned back into their previous submissive selves. Even Ruhi, which does end up about a final strong entity in the end, it is still the story of two men who feel entitled to rescue the women involved, be it human or witch. There is also an ancient debate over mental health and spirit possession. The fact that any woman whose actions are not approved by the masses is quickly termed a witch or described as a weak and innocent body, too easy for the devil to take over. Women are not allowed to have mental health crises, and since most women are still not in control of finances and authority in a family unit, their diagnoses are still left in the hands of the people around them. It is funny how a lot of the movies use mental health or the term pagal to gaslight women into ignoring the supernatural, while in real life it is quite the opposite. Possession is a convenient way to dismiss a woman's voice and authority. And when we associate a victim narrative to it, we say that a powerful woman just needs to be bound and gagged till her opinions can be beaten out of her. And that's the fate waiting for any man that refuses to fit the norm too. Subscribe for more videos and let me know in the comments if I should put out a video on other categories of movies in the Indian horror genre. Also, press the like button if you like the video and share the video with your friends. Do check out some of the links in the description below for articles based on this topic.